Hey guys, so the new pet update has been teased for a little while now, and it's finally landed on the Chinese server, so we have a look at it, and they teased that they're going to be upgrading our pets, upgrading what they do, their abilities, their stats, all of that, along with a new mode, and so let's get into it, and this is going to be more of a general rundown because not all the numbers are going to be exact yet, but for you to get a general guideline of what to expect and the timeline for upgrading pets and all of that, let's get into it. Okay, so I'm going to start with all the pet upgrades, and then I'm going to get into where you get the currency for those upgrades. So that will be at the next section. So each pet, basically, if you look at it, they have two new abilities. Now, I have the full list of those abilities. Vincent, at level 40, he gains, what is this? All allies get defense plus 5. At level 80, he gains, when an ally dies, the backline gains 50 energy. Pasteur is level 40. Poisoned enemies get hit rate minus 30. And at level 80, poisoned enemies have minus 15% damage reduce. Raphael is going to be when an enemy dies, the backline gains 25% crowd control resist, and level 80 is when an enemy dies, the backline gains final damage 40%. Edison is going to be when the pet fires this skill, ally backline gets 15% attack for 3 rounds, and at level 80 they get, when he fires his skill, ally backline gets 25% ignore damage reduce for 3 rounds. Vinci is going to be when he fires his skill, enemy attack minus 15%, and at 80, when he fires his skill, enemy healing received minus 30%. Frida, is going to be when she charms an enemy. I think it's one random enemy loses 50 energy. It might be one of the ones she charms because at 120 it becomes 2, so I'm not sure about that one. At level 80, when an ally gets a kill, your ally with, or your party member with the lowest energy, one at random, gains final damage plus 40%. And then, yeah. Einstein is going to be... Where is Einstein? I didn't get Einstein. When he fires his skill, all allies get damage reduced plus 15% for 4 rounds. And at 80, when he fires his skill, all enemies get... No? The ally with the lowest HP gets 50 energy. That's Einstein. Galileo, who a lot of us don't have yet, is going to be a little bit of a mix of them, but at 40, he just gives all the allies plus 15% attack, plus 20% crowd control resist. And, at 80, he gives all allies 25 speed and 30% crit damage. So you can easily see that Galileo is the best of them, but until you have him, you're stuck upgrading someone else. The general idea is probably going to be that Frida will be the first to upgrade for most of us. And after that, it looked like the best abilities went to Edison. So if you've been building an Edison or you've been building Edison or Vinci for boss damage, you're probably going to want to switch your efforts into Edison for the future. Now, how do you get to these levels? Here is how this works. Here is your upgrade path. It's going to cost you these blue bottles to level up these nodes, and then when you reach 10, you're going to need these yellow bottles to level them up. So each one of these nodes goes up to 40, and for a max level of 160. And so you'll see that at level 40 you unlock something, and then at level, so you'll need to get them all to 10, get them all to 10, get them all to 20, 30, 40 to get all the next stats. So it's very easy to get to 40 because going to 40 does not cost you any yellow bottles. It's just very cheap in blue bottles, probably something like 7 to 10,000 blue bottles. You'll have more than enough at the moment that the update launches. You'll have more than enough to get all pets to 40. Going beyond that, however, is going to be very expensive. Now, what do these nodes do? These nodes are actually the same on every single pet, so you're going to probably want to have different priorities in upgrading depending on what the pet is. So the first node is all allies get plus HP. This one's 5%. All allies get plus defense. And then this top part is for all allies. This bottom is for specific faction. So this first node gives alliance and elf, dodge, crit resist, and received healing. So stats wise, nobody needs these. However, from the stats that everybody gets, HP and defense is one of the better ones. So this node is kind of a harsh one because you want it, but you also don't really want to upgrade it before anything else. The second node is all allies get plus attack and plus def break. And then the bottom is going to be horde and undead, gaining hit rate, crit damage, and skill damage. And this overall is pretty good. You'll probably want to put some effort into this for Koshka and Chazlon when possible. The third node, however, is going to be probably our first priority for at least early upgrading. And this one gives all allies absolute damage and damage reduce. However, the bottom targets heaven and hell, and it gives them true damage, final damage, and crit damage, or a crit rate, I mean. So these are very good stats to have, and because most of us are mostly heaven and hell teams, this is going to be something that you're going to probably want to work on upgrading the most, on at least the pets that you're using the most. The fourth one is giving all allies damage reduce and crowd control resist. Actually, this might be control rate. But it targets, as you can assume, cosmic heroes, giving them HP, attack, defense, and def break. So very good stats for cosmic, but because most of us are still using low-level cosmics, this one is going to be one that you'll want, but not really prioritize until a little bit later in your game. And by that, I mean a lot later. So, the cost to upgrade these... Did I do it on all of them? I don't think I did it on all of them. So here from 0, you can see that it's very cheap in gold and in blue. And you'll notice that I already have 1 million blue bottles. So if I just take this to 10, you'll notice that, bam, this cost is 100,000 yellow bottles. And this is going to be the focus of everything you do with pets. It's going to be the biggest bottleneck so far that we've seen in this game, and yeah, it's gonna be rough. So that is a rundown of all the pet stats and the nodes. Generally, you're gonna want to look at upgrading Frida first, Galileo if you have him, but otherwise Frida, and then probably Edison, but depending on what your priorities are, if you've got Einstein or if you're using Raphael or Pasteur as your second pet, you may want to use them instead. So that'll be up to you. But where do you get this currency? The new location for that is in your territories towards the back. There is a new portal here, and this portal is going to take you to the pet screen. Now, these 3 bottom ones are going to act like mini Den of Secrets. So each one has a certain number of levels. This one, the first 2 have 30 levels. And the third one has 40 levels. You can see that I haven't beaten it. So each level that you beat is going to give you a chunk of blue bottles and gold bottles. However, what they also add is idling currency. So here you can see that each zone already has this idling currency. The more nodes you clear, the higher it goes, and as well, you can add 2 pets to it. You can see here that the base rate is 11, 8, 39, 60, 300. You can add 2 pets to it to raise this rate by a lot. This is raising it by over 100%. It doesn't matter what pets you put, just put in your best ones, because you can actually use the same pets for all 3 zones. That's kind of cool, kind of random, but kind of cool. So clearing the first zone, I was able to get something like 7,000 gold bottles. Clearing the second zone, I believe I got about 10,000. I was unable to clear the third zone, and just as a note, this is my team. Oh, whoops, this is not actually my team. It's not a great team, it's not a terrible team, but it's, still a good 20 million power. I've got 2 T5 reds and something. I'm not going to say I'm strong, but where I got stuck, This team is as strong as any Planet Trial 300 or higher. So for primary players that have been playing a long time that are regularly clearing Planet Trial 300, this team is probably very doable. But for the rest of us, you're going to be stuck somewhere down here. So don't expect to finish this, and that's okay. It's not that important. For mostly clearing this one, I got about 24,000 gold bottles. So for mostly clearing this and fully clearing the other ones, I was able to get 41,000 gold bottles. As you can tell, not enough to upgrade even one node, but there's more. And you can see that each one has its idling rate. So all three zones count as a separate idling zone. You can collect from all three of them at once because an icon will appear up here, and you can collect them all with that, or probably with this. And yeah, once you've cleared them, you're just instantly going to be getting a lot more purple and gold along with blue bottles. Now these blue bottles are probably going to seriously stack up for us while we wait to get gold bottles, but whew, that part we're not looking forward to. Last but not least, we have this new pet boss. So this is a boss similar to guild boss that you can fight every day. The help text says every day, and it says that you receive ranking rewards every day. However, you can see that I have a 2-day timer on this, so I'm not 100% sure on how this is going to work, but we'll have to see more of it as the time plays out. The boss's abilities are all nothing special, like he stuns the front line, but he also has extremely low attack stat, so you can treat him as a guild boss that does basically no damage and you just do as much damage as you can. The last I've only seen 2 guild bosses so far, but they both have had the same stats and are a mage. He may change every week or he may rotate at some point, I don't know. This ability does change every week, but this one is not going to matter so much because ultimately it's still a guild boss. You can try infinite times and just do as much damage as you can. And here is where that damage is going to come into play. You do have a ranking. This seems to be server related, not cluster. So I'm not fighting people from my cluster. So if your server is not crazy, maybe you can do okay ranking. But here is what you get for the ranking. So if you can rank first, you get 8,000 bottles. But just by competing, you get 1,000 bottles. So you do get something just for hitting it. But because yellow bottles are going to be our biggest bottleneck, if you can't place within like the top 10%, I mean, this many bottles, if it's every day, is going to just be huge. It's going to be a really, really big gap between the players that can and the players that can't. So if you need to spend some time getting some 88 mage artifacts to be able to hit him harder, you might want to do it because this is not something that's going to be every now and then like an event. This is literally every single day you will be doing this, like guild boss. So you're going to want to do as well as you can every day. Now, like I said, you do get infinite tries. Like, I'm not spending anything. You can just keep trying over and over and over to get your personal best. It doesn't matter how many times you try. Because there's no damage rankings on here, you're going to have to actually go to your damage reports here and see the damage from there. But I don't believe you can see anybody else's damage, so you can't see how they did it, but at least you can see where your damage is coming from. So really, this ranking is going to be the biggest question mark of this entire pet update, because if it takes 100,000 gold bottles for one node to level 11, and it might take 200,000, 300,000 for all the next upgrades. As you can see, at 100,000, even if you place once or first every single day, or every 2 days even, I don't know if it's 2 or 1 days yet. If it's every 1 day, that's still 13 days for one node. If it's every 2 days, that's 26 days. So this is going to be the slowest possible thing, and it's looking like it could take 5-10 years to completely max out the pets at this rate. The one thing that we tested and were unable to find was no paid packages popped up to buy more. So at the very least, it doesn't seem like whales can get a whole lot of gold bottles really early on. They might be limited the same as us, but if they start adding them to future events, we will have to see. So anyway, this is a pretty big update. It's a very nice increase to our gold and purple income. Even if nothing else, it gives you that. So even if you hate all the rest of it, at least be happy that we're getting more gold and purple. So that will be all for the pet update. We should be getting this in just a few days, and maybe we can find out some more of it as we go along. The biggest question has been, do these 3 zones reset? Because if they don't, the amount of gold bottles we get from them is one time only. If you can't get them again, that increases the time for everything just by so much. So we will have to see how that goes. So that is all for this pet update. See you guys next time.